This dirty old quarter looks like pocket change, but one rare United States quarter sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars because of a tiny detail most people never notice. Even quarters that are scratched, worn, discolored, or pulled straight from circulation can be worth far more than 25 cents. In fact, some collectors spend years searching through everyday change hoping to find one of these hidden treasures. Before you spend another quarter, take a closer look. The coin sitting in your pocket, coin jar, or old dresser drawer could be worth enough to pay off bills, fund a vacation, or even change your life. First coin. The 1965 Washington quarter might look like nothing more than an ordinary coin rattling around in a drawer, but some examples have stunned collectors with values reaching thousands of dollars. To most people, it's just another quarter. It's worn, scratched, faded, and often ignored. But hidden among millions of common coins are a few rare 1965 quarters that can be worth a small fortune. What makes the 1965 quarter so fascinating is that it was produced during one of the biggest changes in American coin history. In the early 1960s, the price of silver began rising rapidly. People started pulling silver coins out of circulation because the metal inside them was becoming more valuable than the face value printed on the coin. The U.S. government faced a serious coin shortage, and something had to change. That's when 1965 arrived. The United States stopped making quarters from 90% silver and switched to a copper-nickel clad composition. The new quarters looked almost identical to the older silver versions, but inside they contained a layer of copper sandwiched between outer layers of nickel. Millions of Americans barely noticed the change. But here's where the story gets exciting. During the transition from silver quarters to clad quarters, a few mistakes reportedly occurred inside the minting process. Some leftover silver planchets from 1964 may have been accidentally struck with 1965 quarter designs. These rare error coins became some of the most sought-after Washington quarters in existence. Imagine finding a quarter that looks completely ordinary at first glance. You spend it on a cup of coffee without a second thought. Yet that same coin could potentially be worth thousands of dollars to a collector. That's exactly why coin hunters still search through rolls of quarters today. Next coin. The 2021 Washington quarter might seem far too modern to be valuable. After all, many people still find these coins in everyday pocket change. They're sitting in cash registers, coin jars, and bank rolls all across America. Most people glance at the date, see 2021, and assume the coin couldn't possibly be worth more than 25 cents. That assumption has caused some collectors to miss coins worth hundreds and even thousands of dollars. What makes the 2021 Washington quarter especially interesting is that it arrived during a historic transition in U.S. coinage. For decades, Americans were familiar with the state quarters, America the Beautiful quarters, and the classic Washington design. But 2021 became a year of change, and collectors quickly realized that unusual varieties, errors, and high-grade examples could become highly desirable. The first thing that catches many collectors' attention is the portrait of George Washington. On some 2021 quarters, the details appear exceptionally sharp and bold, while others show differences caused by the minting process. These small distinctions may not matter to the average person, but collectors study them carefully because tiny details can separate an ordinary coin from one worth serious money. The excitement surrounding 2021 quarters grew when coin hunters began discovering unusual mint errors. Some examples were struck off-center. Others showed dramatic die chips, cracks, or doubling effects that made certain parts of the design appear unusual. Error collectors love these mistakes because every error coin tells a unique story. Imagine receiving a quarter in change from a grocery store. You toss it into your pocket without looking. Weeks later, while sorting through spare change, you notice something strange. The design appears slightly shifted. The lettering doesn't look quite right. Suddenly, what seemed like a common coin becomes something worth investigating. Next coin. The 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarter is one of those coins that many people spend without a second thought. It passes through cash registers, lands in pocket change, and disappears into jars filled with hundreds of other coins. To most Americans, it's simply another quarter. But collectors know that some examples of this modern coin have become surprisingly valuable, especially when rare errors, unusual varieties, or exceptional condition are involved. What makes this coin especially interesting is the remarkable woman it honors. Wilma Mankiller was a trailblazer who became the first female principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. Her leadership, determination, and dedication to her people made her one of the most respected Native American figures in modern history. In 2022, her accomplishments were recognized on a United States quarter as part of the American Women Quarters program. Millions of these quarters were produced, and because they are still relatively new, many people assume they can never be worth more than face value. That assumption is exactly why valuable examples often go unnoticed. Collectors are constantly searching through rolls of 2022 quarters because modern coins can produce exciting discoveries. Every year, minting equipment operates at incredible speeds, striking millions of coins for circulation. When production numbers reach those levels, mistakes occasionally happen. Those mistakes can transform an ordinary quarter into a highly desirable collector's item. Imagine opening a fresh bank roll of quarters and noticing that one coin looks different from all the others. Perhaps part of the design appears doubled. Maybe the strike is off-center. Maybe there is an unusual raised feature that shouldn't be there. What most people would consider a defect, collectors often view as an opportunity. That's one reason the Wilma Mankiller quarter has attracted so much attention from coin hunters across the country. Another factor is condition. Since these coins are modern, collectors seek examples that appear virtually perfect. That sounds easy, but it isn't. The moment a coin enters circulation, it begins collecting tiny marks from contact with other coins. Next coin. The 2023 Edith Kanakaʻole quarter may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change, but collectors across the United States are paying close attention to this modern coin. Most people receive one in change, glance at it for a second, and spend it without another thought. Yet some examples have generated tremendous interest among collectors because of rare errors, unusual varieties, and exceptional condition. That is exactly why coin hunters never ignore modern quarters. The Edith Kanakaʻole quarter was released as part of the American Women Quarters program, a series honoring influential women who made lasting contributions to American history. Edith Kanakaʻole was a respected Hawaiian cultural leader, educator, composer, and advocate whose work helped preserve native Hawaiian traditions for future generations. Her appearance on a United States quarter instantly made the coin historically significant, but history alone isn't what excites collectors. What excites them is the possibility that an ordinary-looking quarter could be worth far more than 25 cents. Millions of these quarters entered circulation. They moved through banks, grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, and cash registers across America. Because they are so common, most people assume they have little value. That assumption can be costly. Throughout coin collecting history, some of the most valuable discoveries have come from coins people believed were too common or too new to matter. Modern quarters have repeatedly surprised collectors with valuable mint errors and scarce high-grade examples. Imagine receiving a handful of change after making a purchase. Among those coins sits a 2023 Edith Kanakaʻole quarter. It looks normal at first glance. But after examining it more closely, you notice something unusual. Perhaps part of the design appears doubled. Maybe the strike is slightly off-center. Perhaps a raised line or unusual feature appears where it shouldn't. To most people, those details might seem insignificant. To collectors, they can mean everything. Thanks for watching.